So the past 3 years, we've seen a brutal war on drugs, and it's supposed to be a deterrent. But suddenly, here comes the president saying that basically every year yata mukhang nagdo-double yung user, and you were discussing the supply side as well. And recently, we've had this mukhang hindi na deter yung mga drug trafficker because we've seen cocaine bricks floating. Anong take ng PNP doon?
Well, this is part of the threat coming from the international drug syndicates to try to gain foothold in the country. In the past, we have seen, historically, we've seen that they have tried many times to bring in illegal drugs, a large volume of illegal drugs, by way of our entry ports, seaports, and the airports.
Well, they managed to enter through the Bureau of Customs.
Well, that has happened also. Big amount of illegal drugs passed through the customs. Well, this is the attempts of international drug syndicates. So this is what we mean by the intense and vigorous campaign against the supply side. We will run after the big suppliers of illegal drugs.
Sir, linawin ko lang po ulit yun. I mean, just to be clear, itong storya ng mga cocaine, the cocaine bricks that were found floating in our eastern seaboard, pinanindigan po ba ng pulis at saka ng gobyerno ngayon yan that this is an indication that international drug cartels, like the Medellin cartel na binanggit ni President Duterte at Sinaloa cartel ng Mexico is tinetesting ang border natin. They're trying to penetrate our market. Because I also saw PNP Chief Albayalde saying na actually hindi po sa atin yan. Most likely this came from Samoa ba or
Australia.
And baka raw bound for Australia. Mukhang aksidente lang na naanod sa atin yan. Ano po ba talaga? Because what I'm hearing from you is, hindi. Oo, ano yan? This is an indication that international drug cartels are trying to penetrate the country. Where are we going with this?
Well, it is an established fact that the eastern side of the Philippines, the eastern seaboard, is a transshipment point, and a lot of commercial vessels pass through that area. And the recent information that we got from the Australian Federal Police counterparts indicate that they have an information that some time ago, last year, there was a high-speed chase in the Solomon Islands area, Papua New Guinea area.
In 2018.
In
Late
2018, that there was a high-speed chase, and probably because of this incident, most likely the smugglers or the drug syndicates just dump off these contraband in the high seas, and so that if ever they will be caught, then no evidence will be found on board their ships.
So you're saying hindi talaga pinapasok dito, but dumped in the high seas?
Well, that is just an information that we got that they say could be a possible reason. And there is a good market of cocaine in Australia, and that helps explain the passage of this contraband in the area.
But we ask because President Duterte again is using this incident as rationale for what he says na ayan pumapasok na yung mga Medellin cartel sa atin kaya kailangan harsher ang war on drugs. But again, what you just said and what Chief Albayalde had just said was that actually hindi, wala namang kinalaman sa atin yan. Nagkataon lang na inanod sa atin yan eh.
Yes, historically, this is not the first time that we found cocaine floating in the eastern seaboard.
I think the question is this or is this not to be taken as a sign that the Medellin cartel is trying to penetrate the Philippine market?
Well, we have to take the possibility. We have to consider that also, because we cannot discount the possibility that the international drug syndicate, Medellin, or the Colombian drug cartel would try to penetrate our local market, because we know that they operate internationally without borders. And we know that the eastern sea part of the Philippines is a transshipment
very
point.
porous. Yes, sir.
Yes.
But sir, in connection to that, the president specifically mentioned the Medellin cartel. Pero yung Medellin cartel is no more. It's been ever since Pablo Escobar was killed. It's been replaced by other cartels. Like for example, for a while it was the Cali cartel, and then there was another cartel that took its place. So when the president specifically identifies the Medellin cartel as a new entrant into the Philippine drug trade, parang saan galing yun?
Well, in one instance last year, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency took samples of the cocaine found along the waters, shorelines in Matnog, Sorsogon.
Yes, sir.
And they sent it to the counterparts in the US, and they have validated that it is made by the Colombian drug cartel. So that goes to show that the international drug syndicates
Yes, sir.
may indeed have
Yes, sir.
tried to
Yes, sir.
penetrate
I
the local market.
I understand, sir. Possibly it could have come from Colombia, but when the president drops information here and there, just like that he identifies a specific cartel as the source, when that cartel has long since lost its power, although possibly it came from the same country, that raises a lot of questions as to the veracity of the president's claims and the numbers.
Well, we just have to take what the president has said.
Yes.
We have to take it for what it is.
Kasi ang layo ng Australia. That's 8 to 10 hours by plane pa from the Philippines. So how would that have worked if it was supposed to be hypothetically bound for Australia?
Well, the passage of the high-speed chase that happened was in Solomon Islands area. And that's already almost in the middle of the Pacific. So that area is a transshipment point. A lot of commercial vessels pass through that area, and that was, I think, September last year, if we're not mistaken. That was the information offered to us, and well, it's been almost 6 months now. From September, or 5 to 6 months, and that explains maybe why the bricks of cocaine were scattered all over the eastern part, the eastern
So this
seaboard.
could have been in salt water for 6 months, and they're still okay?
That is the possibility because, as found by our local police, our fishermen, they have signs of algae and some shells, you know, on the nets, on the package
May
itself.
talaban.
May tala-
Opo.
Masaya naman yung mga talaba.
Ayun na, sila.
So that explains these bricks of cocaine have been floating for a long time now, and that explains also the reason it's so far away from each other.
But
Some
you
are
said
found in
the
Luzon.
PNP will be intensifying its campaign against international traffickers, these types of activities. What exactly are the measures that will be used
Well,
by way of intensification?
well, we'll be closely monitoring our shorelines, of course.
Do we have the resources for that? That's the first thing. That's the first weakness, actually.
Well,
We
there
don't
is
have
now.
enough. We don't have enough resources to patrol
That is
our
correct.
extensive
but
coastline.
Yeah, we are in the process of procuring modern patrol boats and patrol ships for this year. There's an allocation of around 300 million for the procurement of patrol boats
Mga ilan po mabibili ng 300 million?
well, that's around 22.
22. Right now,
22
ilan po
small
ang...
boats.
give us an idea of how massive an undertaking this is. How many boats do we have, and how big is the eastern seaboard for that matter?
Well, we have over 36,000 kilometers of
Square
shoreline.
kilometers, yeah.
And our assets, seaborne assets, are really limited at this time. And we only have a few number of patrol ships
A
and
few
patrol
is
boats.
what?
Around maybe 20 or 30. And we're in the process of building up our capability insofar
These
as
are-
patrolling.
These are serious patrol ships. When I say serious, I mean these are patrol ships that really have the capability to conduct talagang patrol.
Yes,
yung,
yes.
Yung may communications, may surveillance, may
Hindi
radar.
outrigger.
Hindi
Yes.
hindi yung rubber boat na may
No,
nagsasakwan.
these are not rubber boats. but
Hindi yung
really ships
nakasadsad
that
lang sa
can-
mababaw na ano.
Yeah, to
Kasi when
really
you
patrol.
spoke about possibly buying 22 rubber boats out of the 300 million. Sorry, not rubber boats. 22 small boats out of the 300 million. What kind of boats would these be?
Speedboat.
These are small speedboats
Okay.
that can travel, faster than those outrigger boats, of course. So we're in the process of building up our capability for this year, and we are also in the process of procuring helicopters, 5 helicopters, amounting to about 700 million. So all in all, we have a budget of around 1 billion
Yes, sir.
for upgrading of our equipment.